Parents, what's the most ridiculous business proposal your kid has ever pitched to you being completely serious? He sat me down like I was Mark Cuban. Dad, it's simple, he said, steepling his fingers like a tiny CEO who still can't reach the top shelf. $20 a night, 5 more if they want belly rubs. I blinked because he said it like a hotel amenity, not like we were monetizing affection. Also, deluxe package, he added. They sleep on your bed, my bed, the one I bought, with my back and my taxes. He pulled out a crinkled flyer he drew in marker that said, "Dogs stay here." In letters so large the H looked like it was shouting. Under it was a stick figure of me holding a leash, with a cartoon tear rolling down my face like I was the company mascot for despair. Marketing is key, he said, sliding me a second flyer like we were closing. He pointed to bullet points that were actually triangles. Free ear scratches, complimentary tap water, check in anytime. I said, you can't just open a hotel for dogs in a garage. He squinted at me like I was the dream killer that wanders Wall Street. This is why you're not rich. Dad, sir, I am rich in blood pressure. He dragged me to the garage for a tour, which was just my lawnmower, a bucket of baseballs, and the air. He'd already strung up Christmas lights from last year, so the garage looked like a festive crime scene. He'd laid out 2 old towels like VIP suites and a bath mat labeled presidential. How many rooms, I asked, trying to be supportive while my soul quietly filed a complaint. As many dogs as fit, he said, which is also how stampedes happen. He'd even built a check-in desk, which was a stool with a bell and a jar labeled tips for dad, which felt targeted. People don't leave their pets with random strangers, I said. Exactly, he said, very calmly. That's why we'll go door to door tonight and not be strangers anymore. He grabbed his stack of flyers and my car keys like we were hitting a trade show. Put those down, I said, because I prefer my life lawsuit-free. He huffed, planted his hands on his hips, and said the sentence every visionary says before bankruptcy. You're fired, I said. From what? The imaginary company. And he nodded coolly. He rehired me immediately as the janitor, at $0 and no benefits. I followed him outside just in time to see him march toward the neighbor's golden retriever, like he was collecting inventory. First customer, he whispered, reaching for the leash with the confidence of someone who's never met a legal term. Absolutely not, I said, lunging like a goalie and scooping him up under one arm while the golden wagged, deeply unbothered. He kicked his legs in the air like a thwarted raccoon and shouted, you're blocking growth. The neighbor stepped out, coffee in hand, and raised an eyebrow at the phrase, first customer. I waved, then pivoted, then staged a sudden educational seminar about permits and hygiene. Hotels need licenses, contracts, insurance, I said, listing words that sound like sleep but mean paperwork. His eyes narrowed like I just pitched taxes to a treehouse. Fine, he said, I'll pivot. He stormed back into the garage like a founder reinventing wheels that did not need reinventing. 2 minutes later, he emerged in a tie. My tie, tied like a knot's cousin, clutching a notebook with a logo he'd drawn, which was a dog with sunglasses. Will be premium, he declared. $30 a night, includes bedtime story. I said, who's reading the story? And he said, you, which felt inevitable. He set the bell on the driveway and started ringing it like a medieval town crier. Grand opening, he shouted. Dog hotel, tonight only. Limited suites, bring your own bone. 3 neighborhood kids appeared like pigeons, instantly hired without negotiation. One held a hose and announced he was head of spa. Another started sweeping air. The third took reservations on a calculator and kept asking how to spell bulldog. A lady walking a tiny dog stopped at our sign and said, is this real? In the tone of someone asking about UFOs. My son stepped forward, dipped his head like a maitre d', and said, we are fully operational. I stepped forward, smiled politely, and said, we are fully theoretical. He glared at me like I had just deflated his parade. Dad, he whispered, you're scaring the money. At this point, the HOA president rolled by on her power walk, saw the fairy lights, the towels, the jar labeled tips for dad, and actually slowed. Her eyebrows did math. She opened her mouth to say the word ordinate. I leapt. Pop-up art installation, I blurted, gesturing at the towels like they were avant-garde sadness. The HOA president blinked, decided this was not her war, and kept walking in self-preservation. My kid looked at me like I just canceled Christmas. He sighed deeply. The kind of sigh you can only learn from cartoons and disappointment. Okay, he said. Soft launch. He turned to the golden retriever, who had followed us because golden retrievers follow vibes, and whispered, would you like to pre-book? Like he was wooing a celebrity. The dog sneezed on the bell, which, in fairness, is a kind of signature. The neighbor laughed, handed my son a 5, and said, I'll pay for a belly rub. My son looked at the bill, then at me, then at the golden, then rang the bell so hard it echoed. Grand opening, he yelled, effective immediately. I unplugged the Christmas lights. He stared at the now dark garage, then walked over, slapped a sold-out sticker on the bath mat, and yelled, we did it. The golden rolled onto his back. My kid held up the 5 like a trophy. I said no as the bell dinged again.